So as usual, don't mind the hair. I didn't comb my hair or groom yet because I haven't gone out yet. But I wanted to make this quick little video in response to Wilson Brown because he asked me a question on my live stream. Is It was actually a twofold question. Is schizophrenia worse than narcissism, and what is the worst mental impairity? And I'm gonna say confidently, without even with no hesitation, that narcissism is the worst mental impairity that we know of. The thing you guys gotta understand is the internet likes to focus on, looking at yourself and lack of empathy and all that bullshit, right? That by itself doesn't mean you have narcissism. The main defining point of narcissism is that you have an inability to admit to being wrong, right? A major reason narcissists receive a narcissistic injury is when you force them to question their sense of self because they don't think anything that they do is wrong or anything that they do is false. So when you make them realize this, it and the thing is narcissists don't forget and they hold grudges for a very long time, right? I saw this with my own parents. They would hold grudges over some shit that happened decades ago that nobody even remembered, right? Which is a major reason I don't talk to them. Well, one of them, I mean, there's many reasons I don't talk to my narcissistic parents, but I don't talk to narcissists in general. Um, the first sign that I get of somebody being a narcissist, I stay away from them because despite what people think, this modern era of never admit to being wrong, be stubborn, stand on your truth, stand on your belief. And he also asked, is narcissism something that you're born with or is it something that is bred into you? New data heavily implies that narcissism is something you acquire over time. And it's pretty consistent with what's going on in modern society. Modern society is training children to not admit to being wrong, to defend your truth, your belief, and what you stand for, your opinions, defend that zealously. Don't admit to being wrong, right? Take no accountability for your actions. Narcissism is literally being bred into people. And this is not seen as a big deal, but it's a very big deal. When you don't have the ability to admit to being wrong, when you don't have the ability to self reflect and analyze your mistakes, you don't have the ability to get any better. You don't have the ability to improve. So, what happens, right? Every now and then you'll meet a narcissist who has some type of innate talent. So they may be a naturally skilled track runner, or they may be naturally good at intellectual stuff, or they may naturally be good at video games. But the problem that they run into is that their innate natural talent will only take them so far because they don't have the ability to admit that they need to improve, especially if they've already been better than their peers without ever needing to improve. They stagnate very early. So what you'll see is as a narcissist gets older and older and older, people that were behind them initially begin to leapfrog them and reach a level that they'll never be able to reach because they don't have any kind of self-reflection. Schizophrenics, Mr. Brown, schizophrenics have their own share of problems, but there's many recorded cases of people conquering their schizophrenia through self-reflection and being honest and analyzing why they have that problem in the first place. Sometimes it's chemical imbalance, other times they create a second image within themselves because of neglect or abuse. Sometimes it's both. In a police academy, we were actually forced to hear the voices that schizophrenics hear for the whole fucking day. It was a very annoying experience. One of my buddies who had schizophrenia, when I met him, I even told him, "Damn man, you used to have this shit. I feel bad for you, man." Cause yeah, that shit I couldn't imagine having that shit 24/7. But we all have a natural inner voice. There's some people that claim they don't, but when you interrogate them further, you find out they have an inner voice. They just ignore it. But the point I'm trying to make here is that somebody whose inner voice is on overdrive has a far better chance of getting it than somebody who just cannot admit to being wrong ever. And not being able to admit that you're wrong, not being able to admit that you have flaws is a major, 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 major detriment to your life. And again, while there's many recorded instances, and I've met people who have conquered their schizophrenia in real life going to the source, while there's many recorded cases of this happening, there's almost no cases of actual narcissists conquering their narcissism. And what do I mean by actual narcissists? On TikTok, you have very malicious motherfuckers, or, maybe they're not malicious because it comes down to a twofold problem. So you got people on the internet that say that they're psychopaths when they're really narcissists, and you got people on the internet that say that they're narcissists when they're really psychopaths. Now, why does this happen? One of two reasons, right? Either they were misdiagnosed by a psychologist, which happens, guys. I mean, a lot of you people seem to think that certified professionals are infallible gods that don't make mistakes. They make mistakes, guys. My stepsister is a psychologist, and she says that her older coworkers, because they're relying on outdated methods to do their diagnoses, a lot of her older coworkers misdiagnose people all the time, right? And she's also married to a teacher, so this further emphasizes that point. But psychologists can be wrong, guys, and psychologists often are wrong. In modern society, they'll take children that have problems like borderline or narcissism, and they'll lie and say that the child is autistic, or they may really think the child is autistic and they're not noticing the other more serious signs of other more serious mental impairments. This is because, and it's a political game as well, right? It's safe to diagnose a child with autism because most of the kids have autism these days. But if you tell the parent that their child has narcissism, when legally you cannot give a child a narcissistic diagnosis until they're of a certain age, that creates problems. So these dudes you see on the internet, they said that they have one mental impairment when they really have another one. It's due to them either being misdiagnosed and they blindly, because again, right, antisocial personality disorders, these people are already resistant to admitting to being wrong in the first place. So if they go to somebody who they're willing to admit is above them in knowledge, and that person tells them what they are, they're not going to double down and question that even further, right? So they're going off of somebody else's diagnosis, which could be inaccurate, or they're simply playing the game. See, even though a narcissist cannot feel what we feel in terms of empathy for people, even though they can't feel it and hear, they're very good at mimicking it. Now, what I mean by that is people that have never been diagnosed, but they go on the internet and figure, hey, I can make some money by pretending to be a recovering narcissist or a recovering psychopath or whatever, they're taking advantage of the fact that most of us deep down inside want to have some hope that these people are savable. They're taking advantage of the fact that deep down inside, a lot of us want to believe that there is some light at the end of the tunnel for a narcissist. So these guys get on the internet and say, hey guys, I'm a recovering narcissist. I can admit to being wrong, which already means you're not a narcissist. If you can admit to being a narcissist, you're not a narcissist. So that's already the first red flag that they're full of shit and that they're scamming you guys, or they were improperly diagnosed, okay? If a narcissist, this is what a narcissist does when they admit that there's something not right with them. The only time you'll ever hear a narcissist admit that they have something that makes them different from other people is they'll say something along the lines of, you know what? Maybe I am a narcissist, but it gives me an advantage over people because I get to make my decisions without feeling any of the stuff that you guys feel, right? I can make my decisions without any drawbacks. That's the closest thing you'll hear to a narcissist admitting that there's something wrong with them, because in their mind, there's nothing wrong with them. And it takes a lot to even get them to say this, because initially they take in what you say, and then they're like, you know what? I have noticed I've always been different from other people, but these differences make me above other people, so I'm fine with it. You never hear a narcissist say, I'm a narcissist and I'm recovering. No, that doesn't happen. If they say that, they're not a narcissist. So people greatly underestimate how serious this mental imparity is, because TV makes a joke out of it, media makes a joke out of it, music makes a joke out of it, right? And it's a growing problem. But to me, there's no comparison, man. Schizophrenics can, and there's millions of cases of schizophrenics seeking help, seeking medical attention, seeking solutions to their problems. They don't always succeed, but the fact that they try is the first fucking step. There's almost no recorded cases of actual narcissists seeking any kind of help, because how can you seek help if you don't think anything's wrong with you in the first place? And if you do get a narcissist to admit that there's something different about them, well, it's a good thing I'm different because it allows me to take advantage of people without the drawbacks. That's what they say when you get them to admit that there's something different about them. So, Wilson Brown, man, this video is about 5 minutes longer than I wanted it to be. But Wilson Brown, man, hopefully this answers your question. Narcissism is the worst mental imparity that we know of by far. I don't think there's a comparison. You can at least, psychopaths even admit that there's something wrong with them if they believe that there's a benefit for them doing so, right? Narcissists don't like to admit to anything that damages their sense of self. But I mean, if you tell a psychopath, hey man, admit to being a psychopath, I'll give you $5,000, they're gonna do it. You tell a narcissist, admit to being a narcissist and I'll give you $5,000, they're going to try to find a way to regain control of the situation. They're going to tell you, well, let's change the word up. Let's give me the 5,000 and I'll say I'm different from other people. They won't ever directly call themselves a narcissist. So don't be fooled, guys. These people you see on the internet or you see wherever that say that they're a recovering narcissist, they've either been misdiagnosed or they're full of shit, and they're taking advantage of your empathy. They're taking advantage of the fact that you want to believe that there's a light at the end of the tunnel for these people. They're mirroring your emotions to take advantage of you. Don't fall for it. It's a very serious mental imparity. These people are master of masks. These people are masters of camouflage. They're masters of blending in with other people. But how you can spot a narcissist is you got to put them in a situation to where they have to feel what we feel. And when they demonstrate that they cannot feel or cause them a narcissistic injury, whichever comes first, that's when the mask falls off. So, and it's easy to cause a narcissistic injury. Just prove them wrong. Like the dude I just tagged in my community post. You know what I'm saying? I caused him a narcissistic injury. I was going to take screenshots of the conversation, but he started deleting the comments once I kept proving them wrong over and over again. It's whatever, man. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Wilson Brown. I'll catch you guys in the next video.